tinapa or smoked fish vendor in Pulangi Public Market. Researchers Maria Teresa V. Lavinia, Daisy Ann Marie Osabel, Rex E. De La Peña, and Dexter C. Sarte from Bicol University Pulangi Campus. Presenter Maria Teresa V. Lavinia.
Good day, everyone. I am Maria Teresa Lavinia, a student of Bicol University Polangi Campus. Today, I'm going to discuss the study entitled Food Safety Practices and Microbial Analysis of Tinapa Vendors in Polangi Public Market and Assessment. Food safety is an important role health issue to prevent or control foodborne illnesses. In response to the increasing number of the foodborne illnesses, governments all over the world intensify their efforts to improve food safety. Everyone has right to safe, nutritious, and sufficient food. When the food is not safe, children cannot learn, the adult cannot work, and human development cannot take place. Objective of the study: determine the demographic profile of the TNAPA vendors in terms of age, sex, highest educational attainment, and years of business. Identify the sanitation practices of TNAPA vendors regards to their food sanitation practices, personal hygiene, garbage handling and disposal, and determine the microbial count of TNAPA products in Pulangi Public Market in terms of aerobic plate count and yeast and molds. Determine the environmental conditions which are health threats to the tinapa vendor owners and consumers. Fifth, compare the data on standard code of sanitation as perceived by the vendors, sanitary inspectors, and researchers. Sixth, identify the measures which may be proposed to improve the sanitary practices among the tinapa vendors in Polangi Public Market. The methodology: the study utilized the descriptive and qualitative assessment methods. The study used descriptive method of research in the discussion and making interpretation of the findings. The qualitative assessment method is used on understanding how people make meaning of their experience in the environment. The research instrument used is the 7-point hedonic scale and a survey questionnaire. The vendors was observed and the tinapa products and their compliance to food safety practices. For interpreting the data gathered, the researchers used the weighted mean. For the results in discussion, to determine the demographic profile of the tinapa vendors in terms of age, sex, highest educational attainment, and years of business. For vendor 1, age 52, male, with a educational attainment of secondary undergraduate and 20 years of business as a vendor. For vendor 2, age 35, male, secondary undergraduate, and 6 years of business as a vendor. For vendor 3, 41, a female, a college undergraduate, and 5 years of business as a vendor. For vendor 4, 30, male, secondary undergraduate, and 10 years of business as a vendor. Second, identify the sanitation practices of tinapa vendors regards to their food sanitation practices, personal hygiene, and garbage handling and disposal. Perceived by the vendors, food sanitation practices of the vendors has a scale of 6.47 and a descriptive interpretation of strongly agree. For personal hygiene, with a scale of 6.81 with a descriptive interpretation of strongly agree. For garbage handling and disposal of the tinapa vendors, with a scale of 6.90 with a descriptive interpretation of strongly agree. As perceived by the researchers, food sanitation practices of the Tinapa vendors has a scale of 4.25 with a descriptive interpretation of neither agree nor disagree. For personal hygiene of Tinapa vendors, has a scale of 5.25 with a descriptive interpretation of strongly agree. For garbage handling and disposal of the Tinapa vendors, has a scale of 4.00 with a descriptive interpretation of strongly agree. As perceived by the sanitary inspector, food sanitation practices of Tinapa vendors has a scale of 4.75 with a descriptive interpretation of sometimes agree. For personal hygiene of the Tinapa vendors, the scale was 5.66 with a descriptive interpretation of agree. For garbage handling and disposal of the Tinapa vendors, has a scale of 4.40 with a descriptive interpretation of sometimes agree. Determine the microbial count of the tinapa products in Pulangi Public Market in terms of aerobic plate counts and yeast and molds. The table shown was from the Department of Science and Technology, Region 5. Determine the environmental conditions which are health threats to the tinapa vendors, stall owners, and consumers. As perceived by the tinapa vendors, it has a scale of 7.00 with a descriptive interpretation of strongly agree. As perceived by the researchers, it has a scale of 4.40 with a descriptive interpretation of sometimes agree. And as perceived by the sanitary inspector, it has a scale of 4.35 with a descriptive interpretation of neither agree nor disagree. Fifth was the compare the table of sanitary standard implementation as perceived by the vendor, sanitary inspectors, and the researchers. The table shows the comparison of the sanitary standard implementation that was perceived by the vendors, sanitary inspectors, and the researchers. Sixth was the proposed measures to improve sanitary practices among the vendors in Pulangi Public Market. The problem was tinapa vendors lacked seminars about food sanitation. The objective was to ensure the quality of service and assurance of safety of the foods of the tinapa stall. The strategy, proper information, and strict attendance about the seminars trainings to be conducted. The persons involved must be the respondents, RHU, sanitarian inspector, or trained personnel who give seminars and trainings. The partner institution was the local government unit. Second problem was some tinapa vendors were not able to present sanitary permit and health card. The objective was the sanitary permit and health cards are annually requirement by the municipality. Strategies, the sanitary permit and health card are annually requirement by the municipality. Person involved, residents, respondents, LGU, sanitary inspectors, partner institution, local government unit. Third, presence of animals observed in some tinapa stall. The objective was to avoid contamination through animals, ensure safety of the tinapa vendors and consumers. This strategy required the animals to cage or tried away from the tinapa stall and aisle. Animals should be eliminated and kept by the owner. The person involved, respondent, sanitary inspectors, owner of the tinapa stall, and sanitary inspector. The partner institution, local government unit. Fourth, the vendors, lack of PPE such as gloves, apron, and plastic barriers from tinapa product to the customers amid pandemic. To avoid cross-contamination from vendors and require the tinapa stall owners to provide barriers and PPEs. The person involved, respondent, or the owner or staff. Partner institution must be the local government unit. For the conclusions, the tinapa vendors are at legal age and selling tinapa products for a very long period of time and attended school, but all are undergraduate. The food sanitation practices, personal hygiene, and garbage handling and disposal of the tinapa vendors are identified. The microbial count of the tinapa samples were determined in long terms of the aerobic plate count and yeast and molds by the Department of Science and Technology in Region 5. Fourth, the environmental conditions of the tinapa vendors that are health threats to the consumers and vendors are determined. The sanitary standard implementation has been compared according to the gathered data that are perceived by the vendors, researchers, and sanitation inspectors. Six, the proposed measures to improve the sanitary practices among the tinapa vendors in Pulangi Public Market. For the recommendations, one, the seminars and trainings about health and sanitation practices can be initiated by the local government unit. The Rural Health Unit and or RHU must conduct sanitary inspectors periodically. Due to the pandemic, the LGU should require the vendors to wear masks, hand gloves, and put protective barriers in handling the tinapa product. Tinapa stall must have the barriers between the vendors and consumers for protection due to COVID-19. The tinapa product must be stored in suitable hygienic containers that will help maintain its quality during storage. The same study can be conducted to improve tinapa stalls in Pulangi Public Market. And that's all. Thank you and good day.
Thank you so much, Miss Maria Teresa Lavinia. Now we proceed to the question and answer. Let's have first, of course, Ma'am Marian.
Yes, hello Miss Lavinia. So medyo nagutom ako no kasi near lunch na and we talk about tinapa. So ano po bang tinapa ito? Tinapang bangus, may kunsoy, there are different kinds of tinapa. Ano pong tinapa yung inanas?
Galong
For
na tinapa po, ma'am.
Okay. Kasi what we mentioned in the write-up, para hindi ko yata ito nabasa. So anyway, so tinapang galunggong. So next question is, how are you, have you already informed the respondents the results of your study?
Not yet, ma'am.
So what are your plans? Are you going to inform them?
Yes po, ma'am. We're going to inform them po. Kaya lang, kakatapos lang po ng study namin.
Okay, so will this be in a form of discussion, seminar, training? So how are you
In the form of seminar po, ma'am.
In the form of seminar. So you'll be inviting experts and sanitation officer from the
Yes po.
LGU. I think it's also nice if you can provide the LGU the results of your study to help also the industry ng ating smoke free, no, in the region.
Yes po, ma'am. We're willing to provide them po.
Okay, sige. I think that's good. And just ano lang in addition lang doon sa comment, dun sa paper nyo, dun sa write-up, there are several components, no? The methodology is not so complete, no? So I think it's there were no references also provided in the write-up, even to us. And I think that will be those are needed to improve the paper. So you can also, pag binigay nyo yung copy ng paper nyo to the LGU, mas comprehensive, mas kompleto yung report natin. Okay? Congratulations and back to our moderator.
So much, Ma'am Marian. Let's have Sir Edison.
Hello, thank you, Maria Teresa, for your very wonderful presentation. Okay, ano lang, let's do this real quick lang. Ang tanong ko, you involve some vendors, right? How, I
Yes
just
po.
forgot, how many vendors
For vendors po, sir.
4 vendors. Okay, how did you determine
Yes po.
na sila yung 4? Do you have the total population of tinapa vendor, or would that
Yes po.
sufficient enough to
Um,
tell na what kind of sampling yung ginawa mo? Random sampling? Na-determine nyo ba yung mga dapat i-determine, like the total population
Representation.
or the
ano, sir?
percentage? Go ahead.
4 lang po talaga sila sa Loet.
So your total sampling population represented the
The whole.
total population dun sa market na yun.
Yes po.
4 lang. Okay?
Yes po.
Then another one, may tanong lang ako. What should be the purpose of you doing the analysis ng APC or total plate count and yeast and molds? Okay. Anong importance kaya nun sa study niyo? Yan lang, yung pakisagot lang yun, and then si Ma'am Kat. Thank you. Kasi there should be a reason behind it. Kasi
Yes po.
bakit kaya nyo pinagawa yung total plate count at saka yung yeast and mold count? What should be the purpose? Or bakit ginagawa siya sa industry? Bakit tinetest siya? Anong purpose kaya?
Yes po, sir. For us to identify if the product was safe to be consumed by the consumers.
Even the yeast and molds
Yes po.
for safety of the consumer?
Yes po. Yes po. Kasi usually po yun yung nabubuhay dun sa tinapa product, sir.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Check nyo nga ulit yung purpose why in the industry, yeast and molds is one of the tests na ginagawa to measure something. But usually it's not really for safety, but it's for the quality of the food. I think Miss Kat can further confirm that. Thank you,
Yes.
Miss Kat.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I can I now?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Yes. Can I? This is related to Sir Edison's question, which is about the tinapa and also the purpose of doing the yeast and mold count in microbiological laboratories, in food and in pharma. So actually, yes, I agree with you that it's more of for the safety concern because in Bicol, a lot of households are eating tinapa. I mean, on a daily basis. I mean, I think 7 days in a week, siguro mga 4 times. And they use it for culinary purposes sa mga gulay, ganyan, mga gata. So they use tinapa. Actually, your study is also very relevant, especially for Bicol, because it's very, Bicolanos are fond of eating tinapa. So I think just to give you, to answer the question of Sir Edison, to help you as well, you do the yeast and mold count also just for you to determine yung storage condition na optimum or for the tinapa, because we know very well that yeast and molds, they thrive in areas or in storage temperatures of about more than 80% relative humidity. So that's why and tinapa, it has moisture in it. So because of the fish, right? And of course, it's good that you have done your microbiological analysis. You do the aerobic plate count, tama ba? Aerobic count, and also the
Yes, ma'am.
yeast and mold count. Just for you to know, parang sa predictive microbiology kasi ganun yun. So para malaman nyo yung maximum day ng storage and also yung optimum temperature for storage. And we know for a fact that yung tinapa, pag tinitinda yan, minsan matagal yan bago maubos. So, ilang araw. Also, so, yun nga, for the safety and the storage, best storage condition for tinapa. So, unlike kasi the other dried fish from Bicol, yung tinapa prone to yeast and mold kasi yan talaga. Kasi iba yung ano niya eh, mas moist. Unlike yung mga tuyo, kahit ilagay mo sa ano yan, hindi naka-ref yan, okay lang kasi it's completely devoid of water. So we know very well yung water content or the water activity would increase the microbial risk o yung pagdami ng mikrobyo sa loob ng sa product. So that's the reason behind you do the yeast and mold count. And also an additional for the related to Ma'am Marian's recommendation, yung ano po, yung transfer ng information to the local government unit. So I think I recommend that you inform the LGU about the result of the study. And also yun nga, wala kasing references yung research paper that you submitted to us. So it's good that you can also add that. And also yun nga, I recommend that you do parang GMP training for sa yung mga local government unit for these practices to be implemented formally. So kanila para makapag-comply din sila. Thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much to our presenter and to the panel of judges. We now proceed to the fifth research presentation.